Hello, my name's Mark Smith. I'm the Product Director for Grid Smarter Cities. And I want to start by saying thank you very much, obviously, to Wayra and to setting this up, but obviously to yourselves for your time and your attention today. These opportunities are really important to us because we like to think that we're doing something a little bit different within our space and how we do it. So at Grid, we tend to kind of chuck around the phrase of building software with a social conscience. We want to provide solutions that have impacts that go way beyond just maybe a bottom line or that value. We want it to basically impact and improve people's lives. So the problem that we're looking at the moment with our flagship product Curb is around air quality and congestion. They're huge problems for urban areas, and very well documented, I'm sure, obviously very well experienced, unfortunately, by all yourselves. So how we're looking to address that is by producing a platform or by introducing a platform like Airbnb, but for the curb space. That platform we call Curb. Nice, easy name. It allows us to introduce the landowners, primarily local authorities, with commercial operators primarily, so it's a B2B kind of a solution. So they can access two primary virtual bay types, be that a loading bay for them to access previously restricted curb space, digitally lifted and digitally recorded, or a loading extension bay, so where they previously have the ability to stand for 20 minutes to unload, they could extend that if they need to, again, digitally recordable. The benefits are very much around control and certainly confidence for the fleet operators to be able to book a place and know they can get to it and use it at their time. We've found that the Curb solution is very extensible too. So construction is a huge global industry, and they have very similar issues with getting their deliveries on time, but also allowing them onto the site and not impacting the local area. So what we have is we have virtual holding bays for those deliveries to come in with more control, coordination, and confidence. The benefits, we like to try to tackle those problems head on. So the first two really ring out for us in that we want to look to improve the efficiency of these fleet on the road, but by doing that, reducing the emissions that they are pushing out, and obviously the amount of petrol they use for the miles they drive, that should obviously affect their bottom line, obviously produce less harmful air. This isn't localized, this is global, this is happening. What we have on the map is the red dots are stuff that we are actively engaging with, opportunities and projects, and the blue dots, they are opportunities that are being lined up and kind of followed up on. So we're busy, and it's global, which is quite exciting for a company from Newcastle. So the traction, just a few people to kind of call out there. Dublin's a big thing for us, working with operators like DPD, Masterlink, and OnPost, who effectively are Ireland's Royal Mail. We're starting to experience a lot more and get feedback from these users. And it's backed by our team, which when I was totting it up on the train this morning, it's like 180 years worth of experience, which certainly makes me feel old, especially when I work with a lot of young people. But that's made up of thought leaders, award winners, true masters of their craft, and we're working globally from, like I say, from a small office in Newcastle, and we occasionally get to play with a dog. So we're getting recognised. We've been really proud to win some awards over the last 12, 18 months. I know our CEO and founder, Neil Heron, is really proud of the IoT Global Award, but we get some all individual ones as well. Local areas, a local business recognised one key individual in our business. So that's been a really good thing that we get the macro and micro recognition. And what we're looking to do is we are taking that next step, but we want to take a big step, and we'd love to have someone kind of come and help us with it, be that as a passenger or as an advisor. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much. What physical changes or infrastructure is needed before people can adopt Grid and your curbside management?
Good question. Really, there's very little that needs to be done depending on what gets adopted. If it's a double yellow lines with curb blips on, you don't need to do anything to it. All you need to do is somehow identify that as a bookable bay, which can be a screen grab from Google Street View. You make that available in an app. You also make that information available to a civil enforcement officer, so when they're walking around and they see someone parked there, they can check it via their system and it's done. So really, there is no infrastructure change. There's certainly no sensors in the road that you'd have to put in or maintain, or cause disruption, ironically, for congestion to do. No, it can just literally be just that curb space, just a photograph, which is underpinned by a lat and long.
Thank you. Once you add new clients, new local authorities, it sounds like you need to make sure, they need to make sure that their staff, like civil enforcement officers, adopt it. How easy has this been, and do you help them train their staff?
So how it works currently with the local authorities, primarily in the UK, they outsource it to a third party. So they will themselves have solutions that work with a lot of other third parties. So Park and Go, PayPal, not PayPal, Ringo. They have API first development, which get consumed by those third parties who are doing the enforcement. We're the same. All our development is API driven, API first. So for us, that booking that gets done would just be fired off via an API to the local civil enforcement. So if they need to check that by a VRM, vehicle registration mark, or their location, they would see that information themselves. So they integrate. It integrates both into their work pattern, but also into their hardware solutions. Oh.
What does the competitive landscape look like? Is anyone else doing this?
It's waking up. It's absolutely waking up. I mean, no bones about it. Appiway, they are a competitor of sorts. They started off on the B2C side, and they're growing out to more to B2B. Internationally, there is a company in North America called Curbflow. Unfortunately, it does look like they might be infringing on some patents, but until someone calls it up on it, they can still do it.
How do you really differentiate them between, say, Appiway?
The big differentiator between us and, say, Appiway is we don't require sensors in the ground. We just require a lat long that we can share with people to say, right, that's where that virtual bay is. We also have a lot of experience within grid and its kind of extensive network of parking legislation law. So that's another big differentiator.